What began as an ordinary evening in southern France quietly turned into a night the historic town of Sommières will not forget. The air was heavy, the clouds low and unmoving, and the rain, at first, seemed unremarkable. Residents went about their routines unaware that the ground beneath them was already saturating, that the hills beyond the town were funneling water toward a river that has shaped Sommières for centuries and would soon remind everyone of its power. BR. By late evening, the rainfall intensified. BR, not violent at first. BR, not dramatic. BR, just relentless. Drop after drop pounding rooftops, stone streets, and ancient walls. The Hérault River, winding through the heart of the commune and the surrounding guard department, began to swell. Locals who know the river well noticed subtle changes, currents moving faster, water levels creeping higher along the embankments. The river was awake. As the hours passed, the rain showed no sign of easing. Water poured down from the Sevens foothills, rushing through ravines and channels that had carried floods many times before. But this time, the volume was different. The Hérault rose sharply, its surface dark and churning, pushing outward against retaining walls that had stood firm through countless storms. By midnight, the first overflows appeared. BR floodwater spilled quietly at first, seeping onto streets near the riverbanks. Stone steps disappeared beneath shallow currents. Reflections of streetlights shimmered unnaturally across water where dry pavement should have been. Residents stepped outside and froze. The river had crossed its boundary. By early Monday morning, parts of Sommières' historic center were inundated. Water crept through narrow medieval streets, turning walkways into streams and squares into shallow basins. In neighborhoods closest to the river, doors and storefronts were surrounded by muddy water carrying debris, branches, and the unmistakable scent of wet earth.
Ah ben oui, mais c'est pas ça, c'est que...
The town's ancient Roman bridge, a symbol of endurance, stood firm as the river surged beneath it, the arches funneling a force that felt both familiar and threatening. Emergency responders were mobilized quickly. Gendarmes and firefighters moved through flooded streets, their boots cutting through water that rose from ankle-deep to knee-high in some areas. Flashing lights reflected off the surface, casting distorted shadows against centuries-old stone walls. In low-lying zones, residents were advised to evacuate, not in panic but with urgency. This was precaution, officials stressed, but the seriousness was undeniable. Municipal authorities activated a yellow vigilance alert for rain and flooding across the Gard region. Weather forecasts showed sustained precipitation continuing into the coming hours, raising concerns that the Hérault could rise further. The situation was fluid, monitored minute by minute. Every new burst of rainfall upstream mattered. For Sommières, flooding is not an unfamiliar enemy. The Hérault is known locally for its sudden, violent surges during intense rain events, sometimes referred to as Lez. The river has a long memory. Over generations, it has overflowed its banks, invaded homes, reshaped streets, and then receded, leaving behind mud, damage, and lessons learned the hard way. Infrastructure has been built with this reality in mind, retaining walls, drainage channels, flood-adapted architecture. But even the best preparations can be tested when nature delivers more water than systems were designed to handle. As dawn approached, the impact of the flooding became clearer. Vehicles were stranded on submerged roads, water lapping at their doors. In some streets, pedestrians navigated cautiously through murky currents, lifting trousers, testing each step with uncertainty. Volunteers appeared alongside municipal crews, helping neighbors move belongings to higher ground, stacking sandbags, checking on elderly residents who could not move quickly. Despite the disruption, there was no widespread panic. Instead, there was focus.br, coordination.br, a quiet urgency driven by experience. Emergency services continued patrolling flooded zones, offering guidance and assistance. BR helicopters were not needed. Boats were on standby but largely unused. This was serious flooding, but not yet catastrophic. Local businesses near the riverbanks closed their doors as a precaution. Market stalls were dismantled. Shop owners stood watching water inch closer to thresholds, knowing cleanup would come later. For now, the priority was safety. Authorities repeatedly warned residents to avoid flooded roads, reminding them that water conceals hazards, open drains, displaced stones, unseen currents capable of knocking a person off balance in seconds. Throughout the town, the medieval streets told a new story. Normally filled with tourists admiring Roman architecture and cafe terraces, they now carried flowing water instead of footsteps. The charm remained, but it was muted beneath the sound of rain and rushing currents. The town felt suspended between centuries, its ancient resilience facing a modern climate reality. By morning, officials confirmed that while flooding was widespread in certain zones, there were no reports of serious injuries or fatalities. That fact alone stood as a testament to early warnings, rapid response, and community awareness. Still, the danger was not over. Meteorologists warned that additional rainfall could push river levels higher, especially with already saturated ground unable to absorb more water. Cleanup would come later. First, the water had to fall. As the Vidorlo continued to surge through Sommieres, the event served as a reminder etched in flowing water. This town lives with its river, not above it. The balance between beauty and risk is fragile. Stone walls may endure, but the forces that test them grow stronger with every season. For residents, this flood was not just a weather event, it was a disruption of normal life. A test of preparedness, a moment that demanded cooperation, vigilance, and respect for a river that has shaped their town's history again and again. As emergency crews remained on alert and neighbors continued helping neighbors, Sommieres stood united, not against the river, but against complacency. The water would recede, as it always does. Mud would be cleared,